Hello, I'm Explosive, and welcome to the video. I really don't like that intro, but I'm gonna keep it because I try not to restart too many times, and I already restarted. But today I'm a little bit excited to talk about what I figured out. I don't know how I'm actually gonna approach this, but as I talked about, actually I think in my first video in this new format, when I was talking on, I guess playing Skyrim, where I said that you only have a backlog if you call it a backlog. After all, Steam calls it a library. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about your gaming library. Well, my gaming library today. Now, of course, the disclaimer, well, it's not needed, but I'm just going to say this game clearly isn't on Steam. This is the fan-made reboot of Pirates Online, and it's been my main jam. I am not a Pirates Online channel, but I will play this game and make as many videos of it that I want. Today I wanted to do some ship combat and to do some questing in Tortuga. And you'll find in combat later that somewhere I have the hotkey set to 0 to be my stop recording, and I accidentally hit it. So, but I figured about 20 minutes is good for this video. So, I wanted to talk about that though. That I talked about was what I figured out about the library. I don't know if you can call it an epiphany or whatever, but when I realized something, first off, I think about, as a former bookworm, think about going to the library, and you're not looking for, to read everything, but you're trying to find something that you're interested in. And especially, I feel like there have been good times in my life where I was consistently finding stuff that I wanted to read. And you go back for more and more, put your name on a wait list for things. But I realized in organizing my Steam library that I think that's exactly how I want to approach it, is to categorize it, sort it, as if I am a librarian. Now, an actual library is, the main two sections, I mean, there are subsections, obviously, but the main two, like, the easiest split, if everything's in two categories, you have fiction and nonfiction. Well, in gaming, that might be a little bit different for everybody, but what I've kind of found is, and this isn't like a perfect one-to-one, but I found there would be the two categories that I split into them for myself, because I know people say there are sports gamers and then there are everybody else, or whatever division you want to come up with. What I came up with for myself is I pick a game for one of two reasons. Either I'm interested in the story, or I'm interested in the gameplay. And the best games are both, but sometimes you want to play a game for the story, and sometimes you want to play it for the gameplay. At least that's where my mind's at now. So what I've begun to do is categorize my gaming library like a, actual library with books, and finding out exactly what I want to play, when I want to play it. And I know that, when it comes to choosing what to play, analysis paralysis really comes in when you have so many games to play. So this is going to sound really silly, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to categorize it in all these different categories, but then I'm going to have a section called checked out. Like, I check out games, and I might let myself, I'll give myself a limit, and I can have them out for as long as I want, but if I want to get something else, I got to put something back. I don't know. This sounds very convoluted, and, there is truthfully probably a simpler way to do this, and this may be a bit unnecessary. I will say my organization before this was games I want to play, games I've beaten, and everything else. And I'm actually keeping that. Like, I'm still keeping those sections. But as far as organizing everything else goes, when you have over 1,000 games or over hundreds of games, yeah, I think this will help me quicker. You know, I mean, there are built-in filters on Steam to look up certain genres, but I feel like it'll be easier this way if I kind of treat it like a library and I go to these different sections, whether it's, you know, want to play strategy in a simulation, or go to sports and racing, which actually, that was one of the first sections because I actually did a filter on it. I have 232 sports and racing games. That can't be right. But if that is right for anybody, it's probably right for me. Anyways, so that I'm pretty excited for. And also, I will actually say an unintended side effect of that was I was really debating on getting the humble choice for January 2026. I can't remember all the games off the top of my head, but I know there was Sonic Frontiers, the Tomb Raider remastered 4, 5, and 6, The Hunt, The Showdown, Nice Day for Fishing, was it Metal Slug Tactics? Like, several of those games, I'm interested on those a lot on the surface, but one of the things I thought for myself was, I don't know if I want to actually play that game. Like, I don't know if I'm actually going to beat that game, you know. And here's the thing, a lot of those games genuinely seem fun. Like, I love, you know, the Tomb Raider games. This is a good way to revisit the classics. And I love, I enjoyed Viva La Dirt's videos when I stumbled across them on my feed. I mean, you know, apparently they were around for a long time before I discovered them. And I remember trying the demo, and I thought, alright, this is alright, but I don't know if I want to beat it per se. But it's a fun game to go mess around as Balin. And so when I approached when it came to buying stuff, you know what's funny is, like, because, like, okay, sorry, my mind wants to go into a few different places right now. And on the one hand, I think that, you know, the thing about going to, like, the public library or whatever, like, that, you know, thank God it's free for you. That is free knowledge for you to get. Gaming is entertainment. This is not free. I mean, I suppose you could technically do this with all the free games that Epic is giving away, if that's what you choose you want to do. Ultimately, you are paying for that, you know. But I think especially with something like Steam Family Sharing, where you can make it, like, stuff more open like that, like, you realize that you are investing into that hobby. So you gotta think, you know, if you think about it like you're building a library, then you can think about, you know, how much money do you actually want to spend on something. And but when I took it and I was looking at that bundle of games, honestly, one of the better lineups of all the bundles that I've taken a look at, I went from thinking, you know, I don't really need any of these because I'm not probably going to, you know, beat any of them, or if the only ones I was going to beat was probably the Tomb Raider trilogy, I was like, I'm not going to do that. Well, they are also running a promotion, which always helps, but they said you could get this month for $9. And for that reason, I picked it up for $9, but I approached it from not, I need to beat all these games, not that, okay, I spent $9 on this, I need 9 hours of, you know, back for the cost to hours ratio. No, I thought, hey, I am intentionally adding, you know, I have an option to add these games to my library that I may want to play or indulge in, or especially at where I'm at in my life, if you are a father or a mother and you have little ones that you want to share with, you know, some of those games I think that they would enjoy. And that, I think, is what the next chapter of gaming looks like for me. And I think kind of actually treating my gaming library like a book library is going to be the way for me to go. And now, like, I'm so far, so I got my stories and my gameplay, but I mean, I'm not gonna go read all my sections and whatnot, but I'm just looking over them, like, I feel like this is going to help, like, kind of cater towards what I'm looking for. Like, okay, I have, the stories category, well, subcategory that I want to figure out, which will take a little bit of research on how long to be, but I want my short stories section, like your novellas, something that you want, like a shorter story. And I'll move stuff over there. Or, sometimes, maybe this is just me, it's weird, maybe sometimes you want a puzzle or a hidden object type of game, So, anyways, I'm like getting really excited about this now. I'm probably going to go overboard. I have found, and this is my disclaimer over organizing your library, your gaming library. I've used very complicated systems, and I have used very simple systems. And the system that works is whatever one you're going to stick to. Whatever one's going to help you, cut back on the analysis paralysis and spend less time browsing the store or browsing your library and more time actually picking something and playing it. And I think for me, just because of the situation of how things are going, I finally gave up on trying to shoot that ship there. I'm like, I remember this. But for me, this was the answer. And so I'm pretty excited about that. That's something that I think I would share more about going on down the line. But now the question is, I have currently in my I want to play category, that was my short list of games. If I'm saying if I don't have to beat everything, these are games that I want to play. Right? I got 43 games on that list, so maybe that would be my wish list from the library, games I want to play, but not my checked out section. I don't know. Whatever. The big thing I want to put there is that the correct system organization is the one you stick to. And if you're having a hard time finding a system that you actually want to go with, I would say the simpler the better. But especially if at any point in your life you were a bookworm, and especially if you would go to the library and actually check out these different sections, you knew kind of based off what you wanted where you would have to go or what resources you would have to use to find it. And I think that I think that this is going to do wonders for me. And who knows? I might be completely wrong. But if this works out, I'm going to add Librarian to my resume. Well, I mean, I'd say not really, but then I realized I did, I've said it in a different video, but I have about 3 semesters of high school's worth of being a student librarian. Librarian nonetheless. But no, that's it's kind of would be pointless in that case to actually to put that in there. Also, like, the weirdest thing too, if you ever realize, actually be a librarian, it is like some of the most intense requirements, like the amount of schooling and stuff you need to be a librarian of all things. I mean, yeah, I could see, can see the need to, somebody needs to know what they know in order to be a librarian. But yeah, it's kind of random, and I'm pretty excited about that. Now, you're gonna find, so my whole thing with here was is this ship can carry 12 cargo. I wanted to get 12 cargo, and I wanted to show some more ship combat, because I haven't really shown as much of that in these videos, except for when doing quests. Now I'm going to go to Tortuga, and what you're gonna see here is I saw, ooh, quest. I'm gonna go get that quest. Well, first off, I think actually I had several chips in my hand and I was trying to shove them in my face at the time. Then I'm like, hold on, are these people posing? Am I like, I thought they all got off a ship. I'm like, did I get in their way for a photo? Then that disappeared. And then you're gonna see a little funny bug. See, I'm gonna try to accept this quest. And then suddenly, I mean, I imagine if you could get drunk in game that this is what it would look like. But that person's standing over there. I wonder if they were taking a picture of them or whatever, or they're setting whatever up. It looked like you ever go somewhere and you see a group of friends, you know, all like do all the photo ops, photo shoots. It felt like I was unintentionally photobombing. I should have left, but I just wanted the quest. Now, luckily I didn't panic. I figured if I went out to sea, it would get me out of it. And lo and behold, I ended up being right. But it was funny because in my first video, after doing the mini game on land, I had a weird like camera angle glitch too that I had to get rid of by talking to, I think it would have been Darby Dry Dock in Port Royal. But yeah, so they're still there. It's not even an AFK. I'm like, I don't want to get in their way. So now this is, you know, what was supposed to be the second half of the video. I'm going to go destroy some stuff in Tortuga. You actually have quite a bit of questing to do here right now. So that's probably where I'm going to be for a little bit. But yeah, like I said, I hit the hotkey and it ended a little bit early. But that's okay. I will say that you know, as much as I'm loving this game, I'm going to keep going. I do think I am going to keep playing this game till I get, like, a war frigate or, you know, like these war ships. And I want to be able to cruise around with them and board other ships and do that sort of thing. I don't know how far I'm going to go into it, but this will definitely still be there. So you might see me still play this game. But I think my next game in line, I'm not 100% sure, so if it doesn't happen, please don't get mad, but I had installed, actually, in between recording this and in between recording the footage and then recording the voiceover for this video, I was looking at, or I installed XCOM, Enemy Unknown. So the first one of the rebooted XCOM. And I played a bit of that before. I actually played like a decent amount of both that one and XCOM 2. And I've never played that. Or Chimera Squad or however you say it. And I'm not going to, you know, excuse me. I'm going to play it at some point. I don't know when. But yeah, so originally, I was talking with the librarian thing, and I'm almost like curious that if anybody caters their games like this, if it actually helps them. Because like, I've avoided multiplayer gaming, and now that I have a section that right now currently has 38 games in there, I'm not even sure if they're still online anymore. Like, you know, I have to check some of them out. Like, I think Guns of Icarus might be in there, and yeah, while that's a multiplayer game, I'm pretty sure that game's like dead, or I don't even know if it's unsupported anymore, but it's something that I'll check out. The big thing is, in, you know, when I'm growing and, you know, entering a different chapter of my life where honestly it's been a goal of mine to have my kids game more and more with me, and I got some you know, kids games from some Humble Bundles before that you know, my friends could tease me about having on my Steam account. It brings me joy to share it with my kids, and I figure, especially if I get into the family sharing thing, that it would really help find appropriate games for what they want to do, and actually be able to play them then, you know. Which also, I'm going to throw something out there real quick. Maybe I'd love to do a video on this topic and how I'd actually do this. But you know, for this whole family sharing thing, I almost feel like they should go a little bit more librarian with it. Talking about the Steam family share deal. Like, imagine if, because you already have like a set amount of people that you can share your games with. Imagine if somebody could check out a game. So not just one person being able to play any game from that account at once, but what if somebody was able to be like, oh, can I borrow a game? And the limit was like borrow like 2 games at any given time. You could set a time limit. You could revoke the access, something like that. I don't know. I feel like that could be legit, and I would love to see it. But I don't know. That might be a topic for another time. You'll see here that I, picked up some loot. And then this guy's just randomly not getting hurt, but this is where the video is going to end. So, yeah, I'm a gaming librarian. It can go on the resume. That's what I want to say. See ya.